So my message is really, and I tell students this all the time, if that's your passion, if that's what you really want to do, just be patient, get some experience if you can, and just keep coming back. And eventually it'll happen, and you get hired on, it'll be a lifetime career for you.
The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Got a great show for you today, as always. Yes. Mr. Don King helping me co-host.
You bet. You bet. Thanks, Jason, for the invite.
Yeah, I'm excited about today's guest.
Yeah, me too. Our new executive director, Mr. Bobby Wilson, is joining us today, and we're excited to find out how his life has changed in the last
I bet
month or
it's
so.
Changed a lot.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. Well, Bobby, we're glad to have you. Great to have you here. I know you've been in this role for 6 months or now?
June 1st.
June 1st.
Was this? Yeah, so it's almost 4 months, I guess.
All right. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Feels like 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, things have changed for you for sure. I know you've been in the director's office for a while now, but now you've taken on the head position.
That's correct. I was the deputy director from actually September 1st, 2015 until June 1st of 2020. So almost 5 years.
All right. All right.
And I appreciate your willingness to take that role on, Bobby, because, you know, it's a heavy load. It really is. There's a lot of demand on your time and all, but I appreciate you jumping in and doing it.
Thank you. It never really was a career goal of mine. When I first went to college, I thought I want to be working outside. That's all I cared about.
Yeah.
And then when I finally specified fisheries, I think, well, maybe I'll be a fisheries biologist, and that'll be perfect. That'd be my career.
Sure.
All I want to do is be a fisheries biologist. And then things happen. Just keep on, I guess.
I remember the first time I met you was at Lake Graham.
Yes.
And you were doing fisheries work.
I was.
Yeah.
Sure was back in the good old days.
So when you were choosing your career path, what was it? Outdoors all the time? Was it a wildlife or fisheries degree you were looking at, or were you thinking about anything outdoors?
Actually, it was anything, but I really wanted to work in wildlife or fisheries.
Okay.
Because the degree was wildlife management.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I really wanted to work. Once I found out about TWRA and just had some friends there, and I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to go to work for Tennessee Wildlife. But if I can't get on with them, I'll go do whatever I can and get some experience, maybe come back later or something.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So let's talk about who introduced you and got you into the outdoors to even get you on this path. I mean, have you always hunted and fished and been outdoors as a kid and that kind of thing?
You know what? My dad wasn't really a hunter or fisherman. Now, I liked the outdoors as a kid. I liked to catch turtles when I was younger, and that was my passion, to catch turtles, and I'd keep them in something back when you could keep them. A pail or bucket or something for a week or two, and then I'd let them go. And I had I would probably have 50 different kinds of turtles. I wouldn't different kinds, but 50 turtles with, snapping turtles and red-eared sliders, and then the map turtles and box turtles and soft-shell turtles. I had them all, and I would just collect them and feed them for a little while, and then turn them loose after a while. And but that piqued my interest. I wanted to raise turtles when I was a kid. I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to raise turtles.
Now, was some of that from 7 Mile Creek here?
No. I grew up in West Nashville.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
There's some creeks over there close to the river, Cumberland River, but my dad would take us fishing mostly because I would pester him to death. Say, I want to go fishing. He would go, and he enjoyed it too. But I didn't really specialize. It was just fish. Usually hook and line with a worm or minnow or something like that. Just want to catch a fish.
Yeah.
And I still do like that. I still like that too. But I do the other kind of fishing as well. But then he didn't really hunt. He wasn't a hunter. And I always kind of wanted to hunt. I'd take my BB gun out and I would shoot blackbirds. And I knew back, even when I was 10 or 11 years old, I knew what the nuisance non-native birds were. And I knew that not to shoot the songbirds, but shoot the blackbirds, because they were like the starlings who were, a nuisance invasive species, really. And so, but that just got me interested in as I got older in hunting. And a neighbor up the street, he was a dove hunter, or he went dove hunting, and he took me one time, and I got to retrieve his doves for him. And then eventually I borrowed his shotgun when I was old enough and went out dove hunting myself. And,
Oh, neat.
And just took it up from there. I didn't really do any big game hunting until I got to college, and I was majoring in wildlife management at Tennessee Tech. And a lot of classmates were from the smaller towns around Cookeville. And
Sure.
And they all deer hunted, and they got me into it, and I've been deer hunting ever since.
Oh, neat.
Yep. Started off with bow and arrow, and just still like to archery hunt.
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite.
Right now is the time to be out there. Archery season's wide open. Have you been out at all?
And what are we doing here, by the way?
We're shooting a wildcast. We have to get these in.
When I was younger, I would go. I mean, I couldn't even sleep the night before opening day of bow season. I was so excited about it.
Right.
And I didn't care if it was 100 degrees, which it usually is, and mosquitoes and everything else. But
Not this year.
As I've gotten older, the opening day is not as critical because of sea ticks and mosquitoes, and I'll usually wait until after it gets cooler like it is now.
Right.
And it'll be good. It's a perfect time to go this week and maybe this weekend.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to try to go like Saturday morning or something. But it's it's just not. I'm still passionate about it, but I'm older and wiser, I guess. The mosquitoes and the heat and all that just don't. But I'll go.
I think, was it last year before, you killed a nice, maybe even further back, time flies, but you killed a nice buck not too long ago.
About 2 years ago, muzzleloader.
Okay.
Not with a bow, with
Yeah.
muzzleloader. I wish I could have killed it with a bow.
Yeah.
It was a 155-inch,
Wow.
11-point buck, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, Davidson County deer.
Was it on public land or private land?
No, I was on private land out in I can't say where, but let's just say
You
west.
got your spot. Yeah.
West Davidson County, maybe.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, those are fun. I mean, that's a deer of a lifetime. People in Tennessee would be glad to have a 150,
Oh, yeah.
155.
I doubt if I'll ever get one bigger, so it was nice.
Yeah, that's cool. So you went to college and came to the agency as a fish head, right?
I did. In fact, but back up real quick. So I went to college. I majored in pre-med my freshman year. And I went to Memphis State University, and then I happened to visit Tennessee Tech campus. My cousin was going to school there, and I was looking through their course catalog, and I found a major that said wildlife management. I said, I'm going to do that. And so then I transferred to Tech, and that's how
I
came
learned
into
something
it.
today.
Yeah.
I had no idea about the pre-med
Yeah, I was going to be a
Wow.
I worked for a pharmacy when I was like a pharmacist assistant in high school, and I thought, well, I guess I could always do that.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, I don't really want to do it. Those guys work hard and they stand on their feet all the time, and it's a tough life. But I thought that'd be pretty good. I'd at least done that. And then when I found out about the wildlife management, that just changed my mind there.
Oh, yeah.
So, but with Tennessee Tech degree in wildlife. Stayed out about a year and a half after I got my degree. Tried to get on with the agency.
It's tough to get in it.
Took the wildlife officer test. I passed it. Came in for the interviews. They didn't hire me, which was probably the best thing for this agency.
Wow.
Back in the day. And then I had some other jobs. I worked at Land Between the Lakes as an intern, and then I had an opportunity to go back to Tennessee Tech for a one-year job appointment to work with the Tennessee Cooperative Fishery Research Unit.
Okay.
As a project leader, helping other graduate students with their research. And my major professor, Dr. Frank Bulow, said, well, if you're going to go back and help graduate students, you might as well go ahead and get your master's degree, too, in fisheries. And I said, I can't write. I'm terrible in English. Writing was my worst subject. I thought, you got to write a thesis. I'll never do it. But I went ahead and enrolled and took the classes, and it was good. It's, stuff that you like.
Oh,
Not like physics or English, those classes. It was like biometrics or fish population dynamics or fun stuff.
You're in there because you want to do it.
Exactly. Interesting stuff. So went back and got the master's. Wrote my thesis, by the way, and it got passed and approved, and I got a master's degree. And then went to work at Lake Graham as my first full-time job with TWRA in 1980.
And that's one of our family fishing lakes, right?
Yep. Yeah, when I was there, they were building the dam. It wasn't even a lake yet. It was just under construction. And then so I was there. I got to see it built from basically the ground up, and was there all the time, and just stocked it and watched it grow and took care of it. And it became a fisheries biologist about 5 years later. And then about 13 years later, was promoted to the assistant chief of fisheries, which means I moved to Nashville from Jackson.
Right.
But I'm from Nashville, so it was good coming back home. And even though it took me about 2 years to acclimate again to the big city life, But anyway, I'm glad to be here. And then I became chief of fisheries in 2010. And then, of course, 2015 deputy director and now director.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great track. It really is. And, we are really blessed in this state with some great schools to go to groom folks for this line of work. You talk about Tech, Tennessee Tech, UT, of course, and UT Martin.
UT Martin, UT Knoxville, Cleveland State. There's a few other smaller colleges that offer a limited wildlife program, but our bigger ones are UT Martin, Tennessee Tech, and UT Knoxville. They have the wildlife chapters there and the fisheries chapters there, and they a lot more involved. But that's not to say some of these other universities don't offer good curriculum, good programs.
Yep.
In fact, the junior college, the community college, the junior college things they can go to and get a lot of their coursework out of the way, and then transfer to like a Tech or a UT Martin or UT Knoxville and finish off their degree. So. Lots of opportunities out there. And,
it's very competitive, when folks get out of school. When wildlife officer interviews are going on, boy, it's a parade of really, really top-notch folks coming through the door.
And it really is. And I feel sorry for those that don't get hired on because I know that's what they went to school for. That's their passion. They spent 4 years or more getting a degree, and then you come here and they don't do the testing anymore. They do the interviews, and it could come down to they may interview like 20 people for 10 jobs. I take it back. They start off with about 150 people.
That's what I was going to say.
Applicants come in, and then they have to weed through those and just get down to those with degrees in wildlife or fisheries. You could have a degree in biology with a background in criminology or ecology or something. They don't even look at those because they got so many students out there that graduated with degrees in wildlife and fisheries. They just pick them.
Right.
And that may get them down to about 75 people. And then they go through a quick interview process. I know we're probably boring everybody, but go through a quick interview process, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. And then out of that, they pick like a finalist list of maybe 20 people.
Right.
And this past year we hired, I think, 10 or I believe 11. And so it was a hard choice. I mean, any of those 20, and probably beyond that, would have been good wildlife officers.
Yeah.
But they had to pick, and some didn't get it. And maybe several of them, I think, this was their third or fourth time to interview.
Well, like you said, the first time wasn't the charm for you.
It wasn't, not
you
right.
had to come back around and interview again.
So my message is really, and I tell students this all the time, if that's your passion, if that's what you really want to do, just be patient, get some experience if you can, and just keep coming back. And eventually it'll happen. And you get hired on, it'll be a lifetime career for you.
I know those internships are so important because
really are.
A lot of the folks that end up getting hired here have had good experience through those internships and volunteer work.
Yeah, the internships help them get experience, but also helps our people look at them and see if they're good workers.
See them in action.
Kind of give them maybe a good letter of recommendation or something like that to whoever's hiring them or something. So that helps a lot too.
And then we've mentioned it before on the show, but then they take the next step and go to our new law enforcement academy that we're putting on specifically for our guys,
right?
And take it from there. So then they learn the ropes and go to work.
Yeah,
they go through a lot. It's a 20-week course, and they're there now, as a matter of fact, and they'll go for 5 days at a time and go home on weekends and come back and they work. They study at night, and they don't have a lot of time for any kind of entertainment or anything going on outside of books and studying, and it's really tough. It's physically demanding too.
And the workout room's pretty impressive.
Yeah, right.
That they've got set up for all that.
So when they're out of there and they graduate, I just want to say, hey, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I want to shake your hand. You made it this far. You got selected. You passed. We hired you. Made it through the academy. You're something else.
Yeah.
You usually are. So.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears a little bit and just talk about how life's changed. What have you been up to since you've taken on a director role? What's been going on? Anything in particular?
Well, there's a lot going on right now, and we have some bigger issues that we'll probably get to in a minute. But it seems like there's more time on the phone that I spend talking to people in Zoom meetings now than I did before. More demand for my time because people want the director to come speak or they want the director to come do this. And it's fine because I've got the time. I love doing it. I enjoy doing it. I've got to give a presentation in a couple of weeks on a Zoom about TWRA.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So I like talking about our agency and what we do.
Well, there's been some new things come up, and you mentioned this at the commission meeting last week. There's a new Asian Carp Commission. Tell us about that and what that's all about.
Yeah, the governor issued an executive order to create this Asian Carp Advisory Committee or Commission, and just to look at what's out there, what's going on with the Asian carp. As you know, we have they've invaded our waters, both the Tennessee River and the Cumberland River. They're not completely up all the rivers yet. We're hoping to stop them before they do, and that's part of our plan.
Right.
So we just want to get. I think the idea is that for this commission to work together with other departments and figure out a way to fund some of these things like these barriers, these electronic barriers, or maybe a sound barrier, bubbles, or light, which they're trying right now at Lake Barkley. Hopefully it'll be successful. If it is, we plan to use something similar to that at other dams, especially Kentucky Dam, because the one at Barkley is the first dam from the Ohio River. So there's another one on Kentucky Dam. There's a lock. They come through the locks when the barges go through. And as long as those locks are open, as long as barges keep coming through and the water keeps coming in from Ohio, we're going to have a continuous supply of Asian carp coming in. So if we can stop that, or at least stop them coming in, then we can fish them down with commercial fishing methods, and we're doing that too with this Asian Carp Harvest Incentive Program, where we actually pay a little money on top of what they're already getting paid for per pound on these fish to come provide us some incentive, and it's working.
Bringing in a lot of fish.
I think, we don't, anecdotally we hear reports, I have, and other people have too, the people out in the field of fishermen are not seeing as many as they were. They're still seeing them, but they're not seeing as many. The commercial fishermen are having a harder time catching them, which tells me they're kind of thinning them out a little bit.
Yeah, doing good work.
And we've been lucky in that we've not had a significant spawn since 2015. We know that there's maybe a little bit of spawning going on, or maybe they come through the locks. Some little ones do, and we think, well, that could be. But 2015, we had a really big spawn in both systems, and there were just a lot of them. And that's what people are seeing now when they jump. These 5-pounders to 8-pounders who jump out of the water and scare everybody to death and jump in their boat.
And this is nothing new. I mean, you've been working on this since you were in fisheries.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to combat these things.
Right. I can remember the first one I ever saw was in 2001 on the Mississippi River. And it was a big head carp. And then I think we went back again and found a little one on the Mississippi. We said, uh-oh, they're reproducing. I mean, this is not that long ago, not even 20 years ago. And then we found one that looked different than the big head carp. We couldn't figure it out because we didn't know what it was, and we realized it was a silver carp. And those are the jumping fish, the silver ones. And then in no time, they were pretty thick in the Mississippi River and in the Oxbow Lakes and all the little fingers that go to it. And then, of course, they made their way up through the Ohio River and up into the Kentucky lock and through the lock and Barkley lock into the lakes. So that's where they are now. Luckily, they're not like they don't race to the end. They occupy an area and they swim around in big groups, and then they'll feed on the plankton that's there usually, and then they'll migrate up slowly. So we're lucky that that's not been just one of those things where they just get into the lake system and go all the way to the very end as fast as they can. Sometimes a big head carp will do that, solitarily. They don't travel in pods like the silvers do. Silvers kind of stick around. When food's gone, they move up, or if they want to spawn or attempt to spawn, they'll move up to the.
Okay.
That's how they do it. So we're just kind of fortunate in a lot of ways, but I think also our actions of reducing the population down is helping. Doing some research on them because we don't know. Part of the research is determine their density. So we don't know if we're doing any good if we don't have a way of determining whether they're reducing their numbers or not. So that's part of the research that's going on now.
Yeah, and we've got a guy upstairs that's handling all that for us now. Cole, he's the guy who focuses on that, and we got a clear focus and a direction going up there. So we're not just laying back and watching them. We're doing some work on them. So
we're right, and also we created 4 new positions too to work with Asian carp.
Okay,
and so soon, hopefully, they'll be announced to be filled, and we'll have even more bodies on the water.
That's great.
Trying to help control them and manage them.
Like you said, this isn't something new to the agency. I remember early on, like 2000, 2001, Bill Dance did a video down at McKellar Lake,
right,
and highlighting, what was, hey, this potential.
Yep.
So
Yep. It's on Bill Dancer's radar too, big time.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the raffle that just took place was part of it was a fishing trip with Bill. Bill
Right.
said he would be willing to do it as long as the money that may be generated, part of the money, would go towards control of Asian carp.
Uh-huh.
So we said, yeah, heck yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Very passionate about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, something else I'd marked down here was the incinerator. You want to tell folks about what's going on with that? CWD. And I know we're hitting all the low topics today.
I know,
but
these are both these are non-native invasive
Right,
animals that we're having to deal with. The Asian carp, we got a good plan for them, and I think we're heading in the right. I know we're heading in the right direction with them. The chronic wasting disease is something relatively new for us. We've known about it for 2 years now, and it's a devastating disease. It's always fatal to deer. I think most people know about it, and it's in the southwest part of our state. Again, luckily that disease doesn't travel very fast either.
Right.
So we may have had it for a few years, and it's really kind of concentrated in that right along the Mississippi state line of Fayette and Hardeman County. But it's moved out. We know there's some. We're picking up a few from the deer harvested, what they call sparks, that are kind of outside
Outside
core
the-
area.
yeah.
Right, that hot zone. But one of the things that we ran into that last year was that a lot of the processors in that area, when they process deer, they hauled off to the landfill. Well, a couple of landfills said, we're not going to take the deer carcasses unless we know that these are non-positive for CWD. If they've been tested and they're clear, they can come. But if they don't know, we don't take a chance. As you know, the CWD has never been known to affect a human,
Right.
ever, and it's been around for 50 years. Not in Tennessee, but through the country. And we're the 26th state to have it now. And but at the same time, the CDC recommends don't eat them, just
Right.
out of precaution. So the landfills won't take them. So through research and what other states have done, we know that they can be incinerated. Well, it can't just be incinerated, like burn them up and their prions are gone.
Got to get them hot, right?
Got them really hot, like 1,800 degrees. So we allocated some money, our commission did, to go towards the purchase of one to be located at the Fayette County landfill. And we got a bid set out, but there's some details to be worked out. We haven't worked out all those details yet, and hopefully we'll get those worked out in the next month or so. And it'll be on board by the time deer season gets here next year. That's what we're counting on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yep. It's a big deal. Our agency folks are not incinerator experts. I mean, we're wildlife and fisheries people. We don't know anything about incinerators.
Yeah.
So we've had to learn. A lot of our guys have had to learn. They've learned a lot about them. I'm still not experts because there's some things that we found out after the bid went out that weren't exactly in the specs like we'd hoped they'd be, and then we found out later, we didn't know about that because we're not experts. But we're learning.
There was a recent commission meeting where they had a really good presentation about that incinerator and what all the plans were putting in place. So you might, the viewers, listeners might want to go back and take a look at that because there's a lot of good detail in there. And I learned a lot, in that meeting. But yeah, once that thing gets up and running, it's like a 24/7 deal, isn't it? I mean, they're planning on cranking through the carcasses and everything.
Yeah, they are. And of course, it won't be a year-round thing. Obviously, it's just during the deer season.
Right.
So we're talking about 3 or 4 months.
Right, but it'll be an intense operation during those times.
Oh yeah.
Well, along those same lines, the CWD, we want folks to keep harvesting deer. That's the big thing. Shoot more deer. Take advantage of those earn-a-bucks and that kind of thing. So check out our website, tnwildlife.org, to get all the details on that, or cwdintennessee.com. But yeah, we want people to continue hunting in West Tennessee, and
the hunters are our biggest ally in the fight against the chronic wasting disease.
Right.
Because we have to have them to keep on harvesting deer and to control those numbers and keeping them from spreading and all that. So it's
now more than ever.
Now more than, and then I think the average is about maybe 10% in that area maybe only 10%, like 10 out of 100 might have the test positive for the CWD. So that means there's still 90% there's nothing wrong with them anyway, even if it was bad enough to affect humans, but it's not. So, but anyways, just have your animal tested if you're in that area to be safe, and if it comes back negative, you're good to go. If it's a positive, we'll just you have to get rid of it.
Yep.
So
All right. Well, before we run out of time, I thought we might touch on life around COVID. I mean, we're still, numbers are going up and down and fluctuating, but our offices are still closed to the public as far as the Nashville office goes.
Right.
I think regional offices are open, limited hours and things, and folks can come in and buy licenses and that sort of thing. But how are we as an agency? Tell the folks how we're working around with COVID, how the office protocols have changed and things like that.
we're adapting. We found, like everybody's found, that even though you work from home, the agency will still function, and a lot of business will still function. And we figured that out. And a lot of our some folks hadn't been in our building since middle of March.
Yep.
So, and it's closed to the public for now, just out of precaution, out of safety. And and we'll look and evaluate again in a couple weeks to see if we're going to keep it closed or what we're going to do. And but we're still able to sell licenses, still able to do everything we've done before. Nothing's stopped as far as that goes. We're on top of it, boat registrations, everything. And our shooting ranges are open now. We've reopened them with safety precautions there too with the virus. So it's different. It's probably helped me in my transition to be director because I didn't just jump right into a pot of hot water. It was just kind of eased into it. And it's been pretty good. And haven't been able to travel as much as I want to just because of restrictions, and some meetings have been canceled and things like that. But that's that way for everybody. It's not just me and not just Tennessee. So
Things are going more virtual and that kind of thing. And
right.
Meetings online, which can be done, I mean, you're still face-to-face, not in person, but
Yep.
You can still make things happen. That's what I say all the time. I mean, a lot of us are working from home, but things are still rolling. So,
And as everybody's probably seen, if you've been outside, the fishermen are out there and boaters are out there.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Phew, big numbers, which is great.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, the outdoors are open, so you can go hunting, fishing, all the above. It's a good time to be outside.
And anybody calling in from the public, our information people are still answering the phones. They
Right.
might not be in the building, but they're getting the calls and they're answering and taking care of the customers.
Exactly.
And then I wanted to mention this too. Our guys are still in the field. I mean, our officers are
Right.
working, our biologists are working, our managers are planting fields and
Right.
crops, and things are growing if they're not flooded or something like that. So we're out there working for the sportsmen and women, right?
Right. Going strong. Yep.
All right. Well, Bobby, I appreciate you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
Taking time out of your day too to come in here and talk with us. So I appreciate that as well.
Well, I enjoy being here, and y'all do a great job with this. I listen to the podcast myself, so I catch up, and y'all have had some really good ones. So
How do you listen? Do you listen on?
I probably won't listen to mine, but I'll probably listen to everybody else.
Do you listen through the podcast or through Facebook? Where do you normally catch us?
I do it through our website.
Okay, yeah, so it's right
Yeah,
there. We got all the options there on our
Right.
website. So,
Yes.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just go to tnwildlife.org and click on Wildcast, and you can find all the options and how to tune this.
I
tune
like
this show
how you
in.
did that, Jason. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, real quick, Todd, I'm going to pull this up for us. If I can find the button.
we got a patch. We got a patch.
There it is, full screen. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're going to be selling this at shop.gooutdoors.com. Shop.gooutdoorstennessee.com. We'll get it right. But you can get the patch, and then there's also a hat for sale with the patch. So support breast cancer. All the money goes to Casting for Recovery.
Good deal.
All right.
Breast cancer awareness.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank y'all.
Thanks.